At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Okie dokie, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing and Java Chapman. How you doing, Java?
Oh man, I'm a little slow today, but I'm doing fine, man.
That's okay. You know, all I do is I wait around, you know, being an old retired guy, all I do is wait around write my newspaper columns. I wait around for just this time, and you got a lot of things. You too young to remember the Ed Sullivan Show, but they used to have these acts on there. And one was this guy who would come out with this crazy music with his sticks and plates, and he would spin plates on sticks. You don't have a clue what I'm talking about, do you?
Well, I've seen old black and white. I don't know if they were talking or not, but
yeah, well, he'd get plate spinning on a stick. That's what you do. You're always, I mean, you got so many irons in the fire, but it's okay. I shouldn't have said irons in the fire because it is hot outside.
Yeah, it's really, really hot, and I sound like a broken record because every morning during the blend, I just remind people, you know, the heat exhaustion and the heat-related illnesses will sneak up on you. So you have to stay hydrated and you know, be careful because it's hot.
Yeah, even if you are hydrated and take it easy, it can come up, it can creep up on you before you know it. But and we got plenty of stuff to talk about gardening-wise. It's not related to heat, but got quite a few things. We're trying to keep it timely. I mean, this is July, the end of July, almost August. We're in the dog days. And I just want to throw it out. By the way, speaking of dog days, let me see. I write a monthly article for a Delta magazine, Gardening in the Delta, and I try to keep it to that month. I've been doing this for 5 or 6 years, but whatever's going on that month, I talk about. Well, this time for the next article coming out in a week or so, it was about the dog days. You know how hot it is. And when I sent the article in, you know, I edit my own stuff. Susan edits the stuff. We go back and forth. But my editor sent me an email last night. Did you mean to write the hot dog days of August? Because I'd put the hot dog days of August in caps. And I said, no, I meant the hot dog days.
Oh, you were missing some punctuation.
Yeah, somehow I'd written it hot dog days with capital H, capital D, capital D. I should have said the sultry dog days. But anyway, it ain't the hot dog days, but it is hot dog days. And we're going to be talking a lot about stuff you can be doing this time of year. Before we get anything else, Java, let's put up a picture. Let's see who are our live stream editors today.
Today we have John C., we have Abram, and we have our I like to call them lowly interns. We have our intern on the phones.
Watch out, Unc, because you were a lowly intern yourself one day.
And that's why I have to keep passing down the tradition of being a lowly intern. in love.
Let's get her to put up picture number 1A, picture number 1. And this is what I was doing this past week. I mean, look at those fingernails. And folks, if you're not on live stream, you're not going to see this picture to prove that I ain't just all talk. By the way, live stream is 24/7. You can go to mpbonline.org and search around until you find the Gestalt Gardener on radio, or go to YouTube and in the search box put Gestalt Gardener, and you can see these pictures. You can listen to this anytime, 24/7, as you can the other programs. But that's some mighty nasty fingernail Java, and I am proud of them.
Well, I mean, you actually, like you said, you walked the walk and talked the talk because you were getting dirty.
Yeah, but I'm bragging about it. I'm bragging about getting dirty. One thing for sure is I'm not chewing those fingernails for a while because I value my teeth. So anyway, before we go any further, I understand we have a special shout out for one of our longtime listeners.
Yeah, one of our longtime listeners, Hibbit Neal, is celebrating a birthday today. And, you know, he's always out in the garden. He always is tuned into the Gestalt Gardener. Every time I talk with him, you know, it's all about Felder and what's happening on the Gestalt Gardener. And a little fun fact I learned, he's growing his first watermelons this season. Or I don't know, I should say trying because it's hot out there.
Well, he doesn't know we're giving him a shout out. I think his daughter called and gave the heads up. But if you're listening here, but I don't know if it's your first, you may not be exactly sure about how to tell when a watermelon is ripe. You may probably ought to know this, but it's not about thumping, you know, because you're supposed to listen to kind of a dull, hollow sound. I don't know what that sounds like, and I don't know if I'm thumping right. But there's two ways you can tell when it gets ripe. One is the rind goes from kind of shiny, it starts getting kind of dull looking. There's no way to really describe it. It just looks dull. Go out and look at it. If it's still shiny, it's not right. But the other way, you got to be careful with this. The watermelons have always got like a white spot on the bottom. Where it sits on the ground, it's white. And when it's getting mature, that white will turn to yellow. Sometimes even not quite reddish or brown, but that white spot will start to turn yellow. And that's how you can tell. So anyway, happy birthday. I hope that you need to keep I would go out and put a clothes washing basket or something over it right now, because as soon as it starts getting ripe, the raccoons are going to find it. I'm just saying, Hibbit, protect your investment there. No sense in letting a raccoon spoil your birthday surprise.
And speaking of raccoons, I know you have a picture coming up and sometime throughout the show, but I saw one in my yard, not in my yard, but in the neighborhood.
A raccoon?
A couple days ago, yeah. And it wasn't coming directly from my backyard, but it was coming across the back street. I could see it, I guess, running toward the creek or something. But yeah. I was thinking maybe this is what's been happening in Crystal and I's garden, because things have been going missing.
Well, there's a lot of stuff this time of year, because when it gets hot and dry, we forget that we can go inside, and we can stand. We can drink out of the hose if we want to, and go inside, get some cold water, some fresh water from the tap. But raccoons, squirrels, possums, birds, rats, squirrels, they had nothing. And they will, a deer or a raccoon will completely stomp open a watermelon, take it all out. I'm getting a lot of concerns about that on Mississippi Gardening Facebook. As raccoons will get into them real quick, but rats, are thirsty too. So are squirrels. But deer, it's real heartbreaking, because deer get in and they stomp them into pieces and need all the innards. But anyway, happy birthday, Hibbit. And Java, let's show another picture, because this is something we were talking about last week. I was talking about edible summer greens. With all this concern, I think they started finding some of this bad bug that's going around in Mississippi now from tainted leafy greens, particularly lettuce and stuff. And I was talking about how you can grow some of your own. I was mentioning a few, and I could not remember the name of one of them. I was thinking it's a leafy green. I can't remember what it's called in Caribbean. Anyway, one of our regular listeners, who's a real faithful listener, Jim Skipper, who's one of my favorite. He's one of the most enthusiastic gardening. He's curious about everything. He wants to grow one of everything. He's just got a lot going on. But Jim said, I was thinking about an amaranth, and it's called callaloo in the Caribbean. Callaloo. We've had callers about that in the past years, but callaloo is specifically a type of amaranth, which grows in the summertime, pretty flowers. And I've got a picture of one here. We can put it up. This is picture number 2. This is one with the burgundy leaves. Got burgundy flowers and burgundy leaves. Pretty plant. Hotter and the drier, the better it grows. But also is in green. There's green ones and there's burgundy ones, but really highly nutritious leaves. But I also want to mention you can eat, and by the way, callaloo is what they call amaranth in Jamaica. But across the Caribbean, I've been through several Caribbean countries, generally any kind of mixed greens, including mustard greens and things like that are called callaloo. It's a dish called callaloo. But anyway, just to throw that out. And also, you can eat the leaves of okra and sweet potatoes. I'm not making this up. They're not only not poisonous, but they're nutritious. So anyway, if you get hungry enough, sweet potatoes, okra, amaranth, all those kind of things, lots of edible green stuff that you don't have to buy shredded from the store. I'm just saying that. It's a weird world, Java.
Yeah, no, that's true. And hopefully this that cyclospora is starting to calm down. I think they found the source of all of this, and we'll see. But let's go to the phones, man. We got our first caller of the
all right, that's what
day.
We're here for. Good. Who we got?
Let's talk with Larry from Hazelhurst.
Good morning, Larry. How you doing? Hello, Larry, you with us?
Larry, you on the air, man?
Okay. My question is, I have a ground cover. I think it's Chinese jasmine. And I'm wondering, why is it the interstate? Why don't they have a ground cover so that they don't have to mow it, pay all those John Deere tractors? Isn't there some kind of ground cover that could be used?
It's $63.
Well,
is that okay? All right, there you go.
You must be at the store.
Yeah,
That's a
he's
good
in the
question,
line
but
at the
here's
store.
The problem. First of all, it takes a long time for those kind of plants to get established. And if they get weedy, which they're going to along the interstate, sweet gum trees, broom sedge, any kind of weeds, it's almost impossible to control once it gets in there. So, I wish that there was something easy we could put out there, even in our own yards. But Asiatic jasmine and other ground covers, sooner or later, are going to get broom sedge, you're going to get Johnson grass, it's going to get all sorts of weeds. And we don't have any really good way to control it in that. So it'd be more maintenance to have the ground covers than we actually tried that one time. We tried to go with kudzu one time and see how that worked out. But it's just really hard to control weeds in a big area, even with good dense ground covers. Good question, though.
Yeah, Larry, thanks for that question. I think he was trying to go for the low maintenance angle of a ground cover than grass. And,
in Java, this is something, if you think about it, if you drive up and down the Natchez Trace, we're talking about 400 miles of Natchez Trace. They don't do a lot of spraying and stuff, but what they do is they mow they alternate the sides that they mow. They let one side grow up one year while they're mowing the other side. And the next year, they'll swap sides. So they let things get a little bit big, kind of wildflowerish on one side and mow the other. And they mow high. And they don't mow very often. So, and they also don't try to have a regular lawn. They just want flat and green. And most important, they want it safe. If you got to pull over or you want to make sure nothing's going to jump out at you. But mowing high regularly is about the best we can do. Even herbicides don't really work that much. But anyway, it's a really good question, a big concern.
All right, Felder, let's go ahead and take our first break for the hour, man. And we'll come back with more Gestalt Gardener.
All righty, appreciate it. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. By the way, I've been thinking there's a couple of guys over here. They're not on the program on the air anymore. They were called the hairy bikers. There's two guys with long hairs and motorcycles, and they drove from place to place and cooked with local people, local foods, cooking local. They're a really popular cooking show. I met one of them, and we agreed that I would be the hairy horticulturist. So there I am. The Gestalt Gardener is now the hairy horticulturist. We're going to take a break and come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener and your phone calls on this live program on MPB, folks. We're just trying our best to stay cool and calm and try to get a little dirty without overheating ourselves. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve. Literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Hampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Thank you, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. We have the lines open. It is a toll-free call-in program. If you've got some questions or concerns about your garden, anything you want to talk about with a guy who's been around, had a lot of training, learned a lot of stuff from other people, doesn't know it all, doesn't want to know it all, but always curious. So if you want to give us a call and chat about stuff, I promise you I won't judge you, and I certainly won't try to sell you anything. It's toll free 1-877-MPB-RING. Java, do we have any callers right now?
No, we don't have any callers right now, but we do have some YouTube. Oh man, that was kind of crazy. We do have some.
Let's do that. We appreciate folks who tune in any way they get to us.
Yeah, so of course, we have some of our regulars. Good morning to Alan tuning in from Virginia. And he starts things off right at the top. He says, any tips on getting ahead of tomato diseases? Every year my plants look great until the summer rain and humidity hit, and then it's all downhill. I know what you're talking about, brother.
Yeah, you do. And I do too. This is a real common problem in Mississippi or in the deep South because of our humidity and our rainfall. And also because there's some things that live in our dirt better than it does in cooler or drier areas. There's not any really good way to get ahead of it other than when you plant. As soon as you plant, mulch, anything you do to keep dirt from splashing up on the leaves. But these, any kind of dust that blows around is going to have these spores in it. We don't have any varieties of tomatoes that are resistant or much at all to the leaf diseases. We have some that, that are blight resistant somewhat. But in Mississippi, it's tough. So mulching helps. When you water, try to water the base of the plants. Don't use an overhead sprinkler because that just splashes spores. And also at the very first sign of those yellowing lower leaves, go ahead and just snip them off and get them out of the garden. Another thing is try not to plant in the same spot every year. You're just asking for trouble by planting things in the same spot over and over and over because these do build up. And then there are some fungicides you can spray. They're safe. You can spray and harvest the same day. I don't want to get into a lot of details, but the active ingredient is called chlorothalonil. Think chlorine, chlorothalonil. It's safe to use. It puts a protective film on the leaves. It keeps the spores from getting started. But you got to do that pretty often. And Java, one of the easiest tips I've got, and nobody really likes to hear this, but this is what commercial growers do, is they don't expect tomatoes to last from early April until October, November. They plant new ones every 3 or 4 weeks. At least once a month, they start new plants to keep them coming along in a different area. So they rotate them around, and every 3 or 4 weeks, they start some new ones. And we have plenty of time. The next couple of weeks, you can still plant tomatoes and peppers and get a good harvest, maybe even a better harvest before fall. So, and we're lucky in Mississippi to be able to plant up until the first week or so in August and have plenty of time for good harvest. The plants grow better in warmer, drier weather, and the fruits the flowers and fruit do a whole lot better in the cooler days of September, October, November. So I would think about replanting in a different place and just watch your watering. And that's pretty much it. Everybody's got this same problem, though.
Those are some pro tips, man. If you
I've
miss
been
any of
doing
that,
this a long time. I've given up on tomatoes several times and realized plant new ones. Just plant new ones. Just hold your head up and go on.
that's what I was about to say. And if you missed any of that, just go. We can check out the podcast later or redo the show on YouTube, because those were some really pro tips. And I think I am going to do that one where you just say plant some new ones instead of holding on to. It's a tricky thing in the garden. You get something that's going good, and you're just like, I want it to continue.
Yeah, but if you think about it, Java, in the South, we have 2 complete back-to-back growing seasons. You get up in Michigan and a lot of these cooler places, they only have one shot at it. They plant once and they hope to get a harvest before it freezes. And so we're real lucky to have a long enough season to plant more than one time and still get a good harvest. And by the way, speaking of gardening, let's put up a couple of pictures real quick. I want to brag a little bit.
Hold on, Felder. Before we do that, let's go back to the phones, man.
Oh, yeah. Who we got?
We got Jim in Jackson.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Good morning, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here with a question about Bartlett pear trees. I used to be a big fan of them and thought they had such a beautiful blossom in the spring. But boy, when they get big, the branches start breaking off and they just get nasty. Have you had any experience with Bartlett pear trees?
Yeah. You talking about Bartlett or the Bradford types?
No, Bartletts that you see growing along streets and in backyards. Not for the fruit, but for the blossom.
Yeah. These are the Bradford type. There was a whole series of these plants introduced back in the 1930s. Bradford is one of the most common ones. They have several others. And they're grown mostly for the flowers and for their fall color. They have beautiful fall color, have a real nice teardrop shape. But when they get older, unfortunately, they have a lot of limbs, a lot of twigs and branches that are very narrow angles, and they have brittle wood. So what happens, they get a little bit older, they just start splitting apart. This is something I learned about at Mississippi State back in the 1970s. These with the narrow limbs, they're typically expected to last anywhere from 20, 25 years on average. There's some that are much older than that, but they split real bad when we have ice storms or when they have a lot of leaves on them and we get a lot of rain. So there's not much we can do except maybe prune them back, which you can do, or else just plant some more. A lot of people say don't plant them because they're a real invasive plant. And they are, because they make little small pears about the size of the end of your finger, and birds eat them and spread the seeds everywhere. But in the yard, the main thing is once they start splitting apart, you can prune them really, really hard if you want to, and they'll sprout back out, but there's no way to keep them from splitting apart. That's just the nature of the beast.
Thank you for correcting me. It's Bradford pear, and I misspoke on that. But I guess
a lot of people think of Bartlett pears. They want to grow Bartlett pears to eat, because Bartlett pears are those wonderful, smooth, juicy kind of pears you buy. Unfortunately, Bartlett pears don't produce well here because they're really susceptible to fire blight. But so anyway, the Bradford type pear, ornamental or oriental Asian type pears.
What about the pear that we used to call the pineapple pear? It's a real big pear.
Yeah, that's a variety. There's a lot of different varieties. Just like there's different kinds of tomatoes, some all different kinds of tomatoes. A lot of different kind of apples and pears and peaches and plums too. Some of those that are the best eating either don't grow well here because they don't get enough cool weather, what they call chilling hours in the winter, or else they're really susceptible to fire blight, which is really serious and common disease here. Anyway, you can grow it, but most pears, with a few exceptions, most pears need at least 2 different varieties for cross-pollination. A lot of stuff to swallow there, but in general, the pineapple pears, any of these pears, if you want to grow them, give them a chance, but always have a different kind out there for cross-pollination and keep your eye out for fire blight.
The danger of those is those pears get on the ground and the yellow jackets love them and they become quite stinging pests.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that, Jim. This is something in Java. I think I've talked about this before. In the late summer, there's not as much moisture out there, and insects that feed on nectar and sugar and all, they'll get it. I mean, they'll take a piece of crab dip right out of your hand. They get around the edge of your Coca-Cola and all that. But also yellow jackets and other wasps, they only live one season. Only the new queen lives over the winter. All the workers, they literally start starving to death. The queen stops feeding them, and they have to get any kind of nutrients, any kind of soluble sugars they can find. So they're just hungry, and they're looking for any way to stay alive, and they will fight you for it.
Well, thanks a lot, Felder. Appreciate it. Always
okay,
good
Jim.
advice from you.
Good question. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, Java. I like ciders. A lot of people are beer drinkers, wine drinkers. Well, I drink ciders because it's hot, and beer doesn't cool me off. But a cider, which is fermented apple or pear juice, really, really quench my thirst. But man, oh man, the yellow jackets, and even in England, they get all the way around the rim of my pint glass. Not much you can do except watch where you sit.
Now, Felder, we're going to get ready to take our cheesy tune break, but real quick, you just sparked my curiosity. Tell me, I guess, one difference between like maybe the insects here and the insects in England over there. I don't know. Are the mosquitoes just as bad, or is it just a Mississippi thing or something?
The mosquitoes aren't as bad, but they have midges. They have horseflies that just pow. I mean, a lot of horseflies. They have a lot of the little smaller midges, which bother people in wetter areas. But mosquitoes can be kind of bad, but it's generally windy here. And because it's windy, you don't have as much problem with mosquitoes. They don't have great big moths like we do. The big swallowtail butterflies, the big moth, they don't have big insects like we do. And they don't have as many beetles. They got a lot of insects here, a lot of really cool stuff, but not the variety that we have because we live in a temperate rainforest type setting. So the insects aren't as numerous, not as many varieties, and they don't get nearly as big. And they don't have fire ants.
Well,
they don't have stink bugs the size of your thumb either.
Mike and Cindy on the phones. Hang on real quick. Let's take this cheesy tune break. Felder, what we're about to hear, man?
I sent two of them. I forget what they were. One was about, a couple of weeks ago, we were playing about how we wish it would stop raining. Now we can use some rain. And I think I sent one along those lines. I don't remember.
Yeah, let's see. Let's get into this Cool Water song from
This is a singing cowboy song called Cool, Cool Water. If you haven't heard that for a while, folks, go online and just Google Cool, Cool Water and the Sons of the Pioneer. It'll take you right back to early cowboy movie days. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java and the other folks at MPB, John C. and Abram and all. We're going to be right back with more of the Gestalt Gardener. Your phone calls right after this.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
Between the lines, between the
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Horticulturist Felder Rushing, the hairy horticulturist. Oh, baby, Java, we're here to yak with folks. So let's get busy. Who we got on the phone?
Oh, man, let's go to Tupelo. Let's talk with Mike.
Oh, Mike. Good. Hey, Mike, what's going on up in Lee County?
Well, it's a cloudy day. Might get some rain, so a little cool water out of the sky. But I'm calling about a big red oak tree next to our house. Very important for shade. But
Yeah.
I noticed yesterday that it's got a couple of wet spots at the trunk and a strong smell of the sap.
Yeah, kind of
Otherwise, the tree
fermented
looks
smell.
great. No limb drop. Leaves look good. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Is that something to be concerned about?
No, not really. It smells kind of fermented.
Yes.
Yeah, basically the tree has sprung a leak. You know, we got these tubes. I can't remember xylem and phloem and all that stuff we had to learn in the 10th grade, but tubes that take stuff from roots up to limbs and tubes that take stuff from leaves down to roots. And the ones going up is mostly water and nutrients. The stuff that's coming from leaves down has got dissolved plant sugar in it. And if one of those tubes springs a leak, you know, maybe somebody, put a nail in it or an insect or any kind of wound, a small wound, if it pops one of those tubes, it basically leaks. It's sort of like a spring on the side of a hill. And if it's leaking and it's kind of a fermenting smell, that means it's a tube coming from the leaves going to the roots. It's got dissolved plant sugar in it, and it ferments just like old apples or anything like that. And a lot of times you like to see insects around it because it's got really good, valuable dissolved plant sugars in it, bees and flies and all sorts of stuff. And by the way, the official term for this sounds weird. It's called slime flux, Flux. When it's just water, it's called wetwood, but slime flux. Real common. Basically, your tree sprang a leak here and there. It's usually not a problem. There's no treatment anyway. But one thing you could try, this is kind of, if you're up for experimenting, you know how they do maple syrup? They tap a little thing real shallow into a maple tree and the sap drips out. You could do that with this by tapping a little metal, hollow metal cylinder or something, just half an inch or so in there, and it'll actually drip out like maple syrup. But basically, a tree's it's sprung at some leaks. Not a big deal usually. Not much you really need to worry about it because nothing you can do about it. Usually, it's not fatal.
Okay, well, I think that makes sense. There were some ants around it at one time. I gave them a dose of ant spray and kind of knocked them back. But I'm sure
they're just looking for something sweet to eat. You'll have yellow jackets and flies, all sorts of insects are attracted because it's like their version of maple syrup. You know, they live on the nectar, the sugars, and things like that. So they're not hurting anything. They found an oasis out in the middle of nowhere, and they're just happy to have something to lap up.
All right. Well, great. Thanks for the answer. That helps, makes me a little more comfortable because if something happens to this tree, it'd be a big problem for the house.
Yeah.
So
here's something I would do. And this
is,
and keep in mind, I've been working with trees for half a century professionally. Go across the street or way away from that tree and look up at it and look at the silhouette. If overall the silhouette of the tree looks okay, it's okay to have normal dead and dying lower branches, but if the top of it looks okay, I wouldn't worry about it. But if you've got dead limbs or bare branches way up high in the tree, that's a symptom of some kind of trunk or root problem. And that's when the trees start to decline. So look at it from across the street. As long as you don't have too many dead and dying branches up high, there's really not much you need to worry about.
Great. All right. Thanks, Felder.
Okay. Appreciate your call. Thank you. And Java, I could have added one more thing. The ants that he sees are these great big, what they call carpenter ants. They're about almost the biggest ants we've got. The big black carpenter ants. They live in decayed wood. They don't cause decayed wood like termites, But when you see a lot of these big black carpenter ants, they're coming from an area where they make their nests in some old wood. It might be the inside of the tree's got some decay, or they're coming from a lumber pile or something like that. But big black carpenter ants indicate some decayed wood nearby. Really not much you need to do to treat them because they don't do a lot of serious damage. But it could be they're saying that the tree's got some internal decay. Nothing you can do about it, but at least it's something else you think about.
Yeah, it's just one of those natural indicators to just keep in your mind.
Yeah, that's right. Who else we got?
Let's go to Cordova and talk with Cindy.
Good morning, Cindy. What's going on up in Tennessee?
Well, enjoying this little bit cooler, less humid weather, but have a couple of questions for you. Do you deadhead your Vitex?
Do I what, Vitex?
Do you deadhead it?
Oh, you don't have to. You can. Vitex blooms on new growth, so if you do deadhead it, cut it back, a little bit further than just the dried stems. They'll put out new growth and bloom again, but a lot of times it'll do it anyway. So if it's a small enough thing and you feel like it, you can, but it's not necessary.
Mainly, I was wondering if I did it. Mine is, it's not a tree yet. It's more like a great big bush. And I was wondering if I do deadhead it, if it will rebloom.
It will, but cut it back into the area far enough back to where you're into where there's leaves on it. Don't just snap off the dried flower stem.
Okay. All right. Another question. Is it, can I still prune azaleas this month?
It's getting late. Have you got to prune them really, really hard?
I'd let them get pretty big.
If you got to do some hard pruning, I'd do a little bit of light pruning if you want to right now. But if you need to cut them back pretty far, because it's a spring blooming plant and it takes several weeks for the new growth to come out and more weeks for it to mature to set flower buds, I think it might be getting a little bit late to prune spring blooming shrubs really, really hard. So you might want to do, some of them. And then when the new growth comes out, after it blooms next year, lightly prune it back. But I wouldn't prune them all really hard this late. You can. It's not going to hurt the plant, but you may lose some flowers next year, especially that far north.
Yeah, and you told me to let you know how this turned out. I called in a few weeks ago about doing the Chelsea chop on my cut leaf coneflowers, and it worked.
Yeah.
You told me to do like some of the outside stems, and I cut those back pretty good, and they're putting out blooms.
Good. They're blooming already. A lot of times they put out new growth real quick, but the Chelsea chop, in case other folks are listening, that's flowering perennials can be cut back, make them bushier. This is really important on fall blooming things like goldenrod and the fall blooming mums. You cut them back now, they'll be bushier with more flowers, less flop later. Anyway, I'm glad to hear it worked.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. Chelsea chop. It's called Chelsea, by the way, Java, because people in England, they don't have as long a growing season as we do. So they cut their plants back earlier, usually around the end of May, first part of June, and that's around when the Chelsea Flower Show is. And they do that at the flower shows to make their flowers prettier, fuller. So anyway, it's just cutting them back. It's not too late to cut back fall blooming stuff like chrysanthemums, goldenrod, things that bloom really well in the fall. If you cut them back now, they'll be bushier with more flowers and less likely to fall over and flop around. So it's not too late to do that at all.
Yeah, I remember you talking about the Chelsea chop last show, which is available as a podcast or on YouTube for anybody who wants to go back.
Yeah, the YouTube thing, it's funny because several people on the Mississippi Gardening Facebook page, they mentioned they pick it up and listen a little bit later. Matter of fact, that's how I heard from Jim Skipper, who was telling me about Callaloo. He texted me after watching it on the rebroadcast. Have we got any callers, or can I show a couple of quick pictures?
We got some getting lined up, but go ahead. I know you had a couple more pictures you want to get to.
Yeah, we're talking about pruning. Let's put out picture number 3A. I accidentally put 2 3s in there, but picture 3A is me pruning on a shrub in England. We got some shrubs, different kind of shaped shrubs, and I had to neaten stuff up. But I just want to show that even I know how to. I don't cut my hair, Java, but I can prune shrubs. And then picture number 3B, just to show you, I use a tarp, just to show you the amount of cuttings I got over just 2 or 3 shrubs.
Oh, wow.
And I put them on the tarp and I drag them back around. And you can see the prune shrub in the background, how I keep some that are kind of rectangle, some that are ones that are meatball shape, and some unpruned, because I like different shapes and textures. But I take those clippings, instead of throwing them away, I use them as mulch around other plants, and they work fine. Or else you can actually pile up in a long skinny row, almost like a little what they call a dead hedge. You can take your prunings and limbs and branches and make a long line, like a little low wall of just prune stuff. And dead hedge is what they call it in England, because nobody hauls stuff. You can't just pile stuff up and they're going to haul it off from your curb. You got to do something with it. So most gardens have a long, skinny, narrow, looks like a little mound or a small hedge, where they just pile all their stuff in long, skinny rows. They call it dead hedge. And anyway, just want to show that even I can get around to prune. I shave, I shape up my beard, but I don't cut my hair because I like a little variety.
Let's go to the phones and let's talk with Benny. Let's see. Benny is calling from, is this Fenton?
Billy, where are you from?
Billy and Fenton.
Oh, do you say Benny or Billy?
Billy. I was reading it wrong. I'm sorry, Billy.
Yeah, I just got a question about Carolina Reaper peppers. In order to make the seeds germinate when you plant them, would it do any good to soak them in bleach, vinegar, or gibberellic acid to make them come on out?
No. It's a good question. The only thing that I soak in bleach is okra, because it has a real hard seed shell. But soft seeds like peppers and tomatoes and stuff, they don't need any treatment whatsoever, none whatsoever. It does help if you're saving your own seeds, if you make sure that the fruits are completely ripe, so the seeds are a little bit on the dry side. But they need no treatment whatsoever.
I can buy these plants already growing, but I want to grow my own. You said do not soak your seed in vinegar or bleach.
No, and I don't know. And I can't imagine soaking anything in vinegar to soften up the hard seed coats of okra. Only thing I would ever soak in chlorine is okra, because it makes them sprout in 2 days. But nothing else needs that kind of treatment. If you haven't ordered your seed yet, Billy, it's getting a little bit late to start these from seed and get a crop this year. If you can find the plants, you can set them out the next couple of weeks and get a good harvest before fall, and then save some seeds of those you plant next year. A little bit late to start them from seed, though, to get a harvest before frost.
I can find a couple. I know where some are. I'll go try that then. Thank you for the advice.
All right. And by the way, after you get through handling these things, wash your fingers, because if you rub your eyes later, you're going to remember it.
A Carolina Reaper is the toughest pepper it is, they tell me.
It doesn't take much to light you up. And the next day,
too. I won't rub my eyes from my nose. Thank you, sir, for the advice. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank you. Java, he's talking about one of the you've heard of habanero peppers. They used to be the hottest pepper around. On a scale of 1 to 10, they would be like a 25. Well, the Carolina Reaper, and there's several others really hot beyond habanero. They're like 1 million Scoville heat units, which is, you can set a fire with them.
Yeah, the Scoville, I stick around the bell pepper area. That's how weak I am.
I tell you something, and this is something kind of strange. A lot of people think jalapenos are hot. On a scale of 1 to 10, jalapenos are about a 3.
I can take a jalapeno.
Yeah, but they have the kind of jalapenos they sell now is called TAM. It was developed by Texas A&M. It has practically no heat. It's got that good flavor because the jalapenos have got a nice thick flesh. So they got, there's something to bite and something that tastes good without it being too hot. Some of these hotter peppers are just, they're too hot to make it worth the flavor for me. And I like hot stuff.
Well, we got another call coming up on getting lined up, but I do want to hop back over to YouTube if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, we have Pamela, who's always checking in from Harleston. Want to say good morning to Kendall. Want to say good morning to Sean the gardener, checking in from Cornwall, UK.
All right.
We also have who's this, Elvin in South Florida, and he says in South Florida they plant tomatoes in November and harvest in April. Tomatoes don't like rain and hot sunny days.
That's right. Of course, it doesn't frost and freeze down there either.
And then we do have a question from Mary, who says, once a tree is infected with fire blight, is it infected forever or is it a seasonal disease?
Real good question. It's a good question. It would normally infect it forever because this is a bacteria that goes into the stems, usually below the burned area. But trees tend to seal off, what they call compartmentalize. They can seal that off. So usually it's a year-to-year type thing. And by the way, you can prevent it for the whole year by spraying the tree with a bactericide. It's called fire blight spray. That's a brand name, fire blight spray. You can spray when the trees are in bloom, which is when they get infected because bees spread the bacteria. Does not hurt the bees at all, but you can prevent it for the whole year with a couple of 3 sprays during flower. But anyway, it's a good question, but they tend to compartmentalize, seal off the damage, and it drops off. Good question, though.
And one more question before we go to Fletch in Ridgeland on the phone. This one also comes from Elvin, and he says, how many years does a non-grafted avocado tree take to produce fruits, and why?
Oh, boy. I can tell the why. Because it varies from species to species. When trees sprout from seed, they go through a juvenile phase just like we do. We're kids and we're teenagers, go through adolescent, then we become mature. Trees go through that seedling phase also. And it takes anywhere from 3 to 7 or more years, depending on the type of tree, to reach maturity where it can start flowering and making fruit. Grafted ones, of course, you're using mature, already grown wood onto a young plant, and they're ready to go. But from seed, I don't know on the avocado, but anyway, the juvenile phase can be anywhere from 3 to 5 years or more. And in case of pecan trees, it can be 10 or 12 years. And with most citrus, it can take years. So growing things from seed is a fun idea, but they got to go through a juvenile. They got to go through the kids and the teenage phase before they can get to adulthood and start producing. Good question.
Well, we have some more YouTube to get to, and if you have a question and you kind of don't want to call in, just go to the YouTube chat, and you may even get an answer before Felder gets to it. Our community inside the YouTube chat is really, really active. But let's go back to the phones and talk with Fletch in Ridgeland.
Morning, Fletch. What's up, sir?
Morning, fellas. Good morning. Hope you all is well on both sides of the pond.
So far.
My question, good deal. My question, since you brought it up, is slime flux the same thing that the ants are going up and down my crepe myrtles on?
No. It's comes from the same source. The ants and the aphids and things like that, they're feeding on honeydew. On ants, aphids suck sap out of the trees, and their excrement, what comes out the other end of them, has got dissolved plant sugar, and that's what the ants are feeding on. So it's the same stuff, but instead of processing through a tube, it's being processed through a little insect. But it's still sap, but it's already pre-digested sap. It's like a fast food to ants.
They're cleaning up a little bit.
Yeah, well, actually, they will pick up aphids and move from place to place, and they put aphids, and they actually farm aphids just like we do milk cows. They'll move aphids to a new place just harvest their. It's called honeydew, their excrement. I wish I was making this up.
All right, good stuff. Happy Friday.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Fletch. What you say, Felder? You wish you were making it up, man?
Man, there's some weird stuff. Over the past decades I've been doing this, I've heard some weird stuff, and I look it up. Matter of fact, I looked up something the other day. I don't know if I've got a picture of it or not. I'll tell you, we're talking about the second hour. Something came up during pub talk, and I've never heard it before, and I looked it up. But if we got a caller, can I show a couple of quick pictures before our break?
Let's go to the pictures.
Okay, picture number 4B, 4A. I saw this 4A. It's something I saw online. I thought it was really, really cool. It's forget your zodiac sign. What's your favorite garden hose setting? You know, these things you put on the end of the hose that got different settings. Are you a center person or a jet person or a shower person or a mist or a soaker or a cone person? What kind of watering person are you? That was one thing. But picture number 4B, I want to show you some of my watering cans, Java, because I got a little small backyard here in England, and I don't have a hose out there. I have to carry water from the kitchen. So I got these old antique watering cans. I mean, they're really, really cool. They're fun. I got them in an antique store, but one of them had a hole in the bottom of it. So let's put up picture number 5. I took it to a friend of mine, Sean, the guy we've talked to about old bananas and stuff. I took him to his shop, and he had this special goo he put all the way around. He fixed, and I'm thinking, this is a Fix It 101 type thing.
Yeah, no, he's helping you out.
How do you get your metal watering cans? Well, you get squirt stuff in this, waterproof it. But anyway, I have to hand carry water. Luckily, I grow mostly succulents because I'm in Mississippi most of the time, and my plants over here have got to take care of themselves. So I grow succulents and cacti and things like that outside that don't need a bunch of water. Anyway, I just want to show you that I don't use these plastic watering cans. I like them, they're fine, but there's nothing like carrying a real old antique metal watering can with that little shower head on the end. It's called a rose that makes a little shower thing. Nothing like doing that to make you feel like a real hands-on gardener.
Yeah, I mean, you do the work. The first picture you showed this morning was you in the dirty fingernails.
Oh, yeah, and pruning and stuff. I'm sort of proud of it. I shouldn't be because it's just routine stuff. People do that, they dig for a living, and I just piddle around a little bit, but it makes me feel okay. It makes me feel like I actually got out and did something. It doesn't take much to be a gardener. It does not take much at all. But if you get a little dirt under your fingernail every now and then, it makes you feel good.
Well, take us out, man. We're getting ready for hour number 2.
Oh, next hour, we're going to talk about Jimothy. We're going to talk about bowerbirds and a new insect called the squash lady beetle that eats a plant-eating ladybug. We're going to talk about heirloom tomatoes and also whether or not you can get radiation poisoning from eating bananas. It's Think Radio, Mississippi Public Broadcasting is. Me and Java and all the other folks at MPB, we're glad you joined us. We're going to take a little break for some news, and we're going to come back with hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener right here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Go wash your hands, folks, and come back, and we'll get dirty all over again.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Folks, welcome back. I'm Harry Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, the host of the Gestalt Gardener here on Mississippi Public Broadcasting, and along with my awesome producer, Java Chapman, our live stream producers. Welcome to hour 2 of this program. Let's get started. We're doing binge gardening. Got 2 hours of binge gardening. We're halfway through. Let's start out right now by going right to the phones. We got, I understand, a fella hanging on from up north, Java.
From up north is Steve in Gaucher.
Oh, that's down south.
Yeah.
Down south, almost to the coast. What's up, Steve?
Capital One MasterCard. Update my
Steve.
Anyway, look, I got 3 pairs.
Steve, are you there? Oh man, we'll have to come back to Steve. Steve was holding on. I thought he was being a soldier. He started doing something else.
That's all right. Well, we have some folks who've been tuning in for the live stream. I think we've got somebody with a question about tomatoes. I think, is it Ann?
Well, no, we have, let's see, we do have some tomatoes. Alan, he said, thank you for the awesome tomato tips that you gave earlier. Also, Crystal, she chimed in and she let everyone know that all of our tomatoes in our garden have shriveled away. And then, let's see.
Time to plant more, Crystal. Send Java to the store.
We do have one question from, from Weston. It says, morning, I have 2 this is volunteer star magnolias. Have you heard of that, Felder?
Yeah, well, yeah, they could come up from seed. Even though star magnolia is not native to North America, it can seed itself around.
Okay. Well, it says, I have 2 volunteer star magnolias in my small garden. I don't have space for them, but I would love to be able to gift them to my friends. When would you recommend I pot them and how?
That's a good question. And for folks who may not be familiar, star magnolia it's not a big tree. It's a really small tree or a really large shrub. Drops its leaves in the wintertime, kind of a rounded small tree. And long before the leaves come out, in the wintertime, while it's still cold, it's one of the first to, it has lots and lots of, the flowers are not very big. They're not much bigger than a cup, but they got lots of petals and they're just white as they can be. But it's a real pretty white flowering, winter blooming, small magnolia. But to answer your question, what I would do is I wait till fall, wait till they drop the leaves, late November, December, sometime in there, and dig them up and put them in pots in. If you want to help them right now, if you'll take a shovel and cut maybe on 2 or 3 sides of it out about, well, however big a root ball you think you could pick up. Let's say you dig a root ball a foot across. Go out and make some real skinny cuts straight down, 2 or 3 of them around the edge of it. What this does is it prunes some of the roots, not enough to kill it this time of year, but it makes those roots branch out, so you'll have more roots when you transplant it. It's called root pruning. So just make a few little cuts out from the trunk, 4, 5, 6 inches out from the trunk, and just every now and then, like a dashed line. And I'd wait till winter to move it.
Okay. Well, Weston, I hope that helps out. And I guess I just never was familiar with the term volunteer when it comes to, I guess, a plant self-seeding itself. I have 2
that means,
volunteer star magnolias.
It's a different way of saying this one will get away from it. They throw seeds around, and they call the seedlings volunteers because they come up. I'll grow here.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not
was
sure when they started to call it volunteer, but it just means something came up away from the mother plant, saying, "Hey, I'm over here."
That's cool. I like that. Let's see. We have. Okay, some of these YouTube names are funny, man. We have Seamless Pants, who just dropped something into the chat and says, so we have a tree nursery and fire blight is a problem we have experienced every year so far. To my knowledge, the only option is to prune the infected areas off or make sure you sanitize between each cut and make sure you prune well below the infected area to ensure all the infection is removed. Oh, they were actually responding to the earlier question from Mary about the fire blight. Okay.
Okay, let me add a little bit more. What they're saying, this has been standard advice a long time. They have fire blight, just prune it out. But if you don't cut it well below the infected area, the bacterial infection is actually in the sap 2 or 3 or more inches below into sound wood. So you got to cut it well below the infected area to get all of it out. And also you need to dip your shears into some chlorine bleach or alcohol or something to disinfect between cuts, so you'll spread the bacteria through your cutting shear, the infected tools. Unfortunately, that's no longer recommended. And here's why. First of all, it's time consuming. The fire blight only kills back a little certain way anyway. You rarely get it all out. And a lot of times the pruning does more damage than the bacteria side does. The bacteria does. The best control for this, if you know you're going to have it and you depend on your trees for a living, is to, when they're in bloom, spray with fire blight spray. It's a safe, very effective. It's a bactericide, and it puts a coating on the flowers. Does not hurt bees. But if you'll spray 2 or 3 times from when the flowers first start opening until the bees stop working the flowers, that'll prevent almost all of it for the entire year. So the best, most effective approach is spray the trees while they're in bloom. And by the way, cheaper labor-wise than going around pruning a bunch of stuff and having to rake it all up. So I would recommend spraying in the spring over pruning later. That's just what I would recommend based on working with fruit growers for decades. Not trying to be argumentative, but I think there's a better way, and that's spraying.
All right, well, there you go.
Now what? Am I grouchy enough yet?
No, I don't know the lineup that you wanted to go in, but I want to talk about Jimothy, man.
Jimothy. Okay.
Or
what do you know about Jimothy?
I just saw it on my social media feed, and it's he is a raccoon.
Yeah.
And the veterinarian was giving some kind of classical explanation or clinical explanation, but it's just a funny looking raccoon.
Yeah, it really looks like it hunched over real bad. This was a raccoon that was discovered as a baby raccoon a couple of years ago in Seattle, Washington. Somebody noticed, and the raccoon parents were carrying it around by its neck because it was born with a severely shortened spine. It's hunched over. It doesn't have a very long spine, so it's like its feet come out of the same place. Little tail, little face, just healthy as it can be. And it had become so famous in the Seattle area. And by the way, the person who discovered it named it Jimothy because she said, well, it just looks like a Jimothy. And I'm thinking maybe she meant Jimothy. But anyway, the tributes say that people have got Jimothy tattoos. There's a mural. There's an honorary degree from University of Washington. Seattle City Council is it's just a healthy but
It's just
doesn't have any handicap. It gets around just fine, but it just doesn't have much of a spine. It's a funny looking thing. I found a T-shirt that had Jimothy dressed up in a Halloween costume. Anyway, lots of meanings. But if you just go online and type in Jim, like Timothy, except with a J, it's a touching type of thing. And they're saying don't mess with it, don't try to feed it, don't catch her. It's perfectly healthy, but it's just kind of it's not comical looking, but it's different, and it's caught their attention. Jimothy the raccoon.
Yeah, no,
something lighten things up.
And that's what I was just about to say, because the social media post was all about, in this world of divisiveness and stuff like that, where everybody's in their sides. A lot of people are just coming together around this whimsical looking animal, Jimothy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and we all need some. It's just a weird world, Java. And if it wasn't for gardening, I don't know how I'd get by. But and let me show a picture, something I found I'm real proud of. Picture number 8. If you're not on YouTube or MPB Online, not watching the live stream, this is a picture of something I saw on the street the other day. Just in the street, a little tiny, little small, pale blue rock. Okay. Now, Java, that means nothing to most people, but being the kind of person I am, I stopped and took a picture. I didn't pick it up and bring it home. Although I will do this. I will show you this in my pocket. Let me get this out real quick. I'm the type of guy who I did find a piece of glass, a real pretty little piece of colorful green glass, and I keep it with my pocket, sort of like a little touchstone. But anyway, I saw this, and I wanted to stop and get it, and it reminds me of what I was called, and Java followed me on this, by a guy named Roger Swain. Now, older gardeners remember Roger Swain. He was a longtime host of a PBS program called The Victory Garden. He was America's top gardener. And I've known Swain forever. I went up 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, helped him harvest his apples. Anyway, Swain's retired. But in the foreword to one of my books, which he wrote, he called me a bowerbird. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I was just about, what is a bowerbird?
Well, if you'll Google it, you'll understand. It's a bird that I forget where it's from, Malaysia or someplace, but it makes a funny looking little nest. A male makes a nest, and it goes around and it steals colorful things, little blue rocks and bottle caps and stuff. And it spreads out all these things out from the nest to attract female birds to live with him in his nest. So he puts all these colorful things out around his nest to attract attention, okay? And he called me a bowerbird because of all my bottle trees. I'm not trying to attract people to my nest, folks. I just like colorful stuff. But anyway, bowerbird is something that collects shiny objects and spreads them out for everybody to see. So there. I just want to use that as excuse to, there's a bowerbird in all of us, especially folks who wear a lot of earrings and stuff. Bowerbirds.
I think you are a bowerbird now that I know what it is, because you do have a lot of colorful attractions to come and see in your garden.
Little tchotchkes. I mean, I literally picked up a little broken piece of green glass and keep it in my pocket because I think it's pretty. I don't wear earrings and stuff. So, can a guy feel pretty without being a bowerbird? Anyway, I just want to throw that out. There is something, if we don't have any calls yet, there is something I want to touch on. I could use some help with listeners.
Yeah, we throw it out there while we get ready for our next break.
Okay. Picture number 9. I want to throw this out. Picture number 9 is something I read about recently. I don't know that we have this insect in Mississippi yet. It's big up north in Wisconsin and all that. It's really big on the East Coast. But this is a lady beetle. It looks just like a lady beetle, same size, same shape as everything about it says lady beetle, not cucumber beetle, not potato beetle. It looks just like a lady beetle. It's kind of a orangish yellow, yellowish orange. It got lots of spots on it, not just on its wings, but also on the little pronotum behind its head. This is a type of, it's related to the lady beetle, but this one eats plants. It's a vegetable eating lady beetle. We think of lady beetles are eating insects, which they do. They're carnivorous. But this is one that's called the squash lady beetle. And it doesn't eat the leaves like a caterpillar. It turns the leaves into what look like skeletons. It just chews it and its larvae chew the tissue, mostly in squash, cucumbers, melons, a few other plants. Anyway, I'm just trying to find out if anybody's found an orange with black spot lady beetle that's been chewing on their plants. I'm trying to see, do we have the squash lady beetle in Mississippi yet? I just don't know. And not a serious problem. It doesn't kill the plants. It just makes them look bad. But I just want to throw that out in case anybody's ever seen this squash lady beetle. So anyway, I like to think too, just like everybody else. And I like to think that we're ahead of the curve on some stuff. We're going to come back and talk about heirloom tomatoes and weird hanging baskets, and also whether or not bananas are radioactive or not. Stick with us, folks. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java and John C. and Abram and all the folks at MPB. We'll be right back with more right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturist Felder Rushing, the hairy horticulturist. Java, during our break, I got an email. I'm checking my emails, and I got one from Hillary Sugart, who used to live in Oxford and lives out in not Iowa, Idaho, out west. I can't remember the name of the state now. It's where Utah. She lives in Utah. Anyway, she had heard us talking with the caller in the last hour about what can we plant on the roadsides, to cut down on maintenance. She sent me a link about an English town that replaced 8 miles of mowed grass with wildflowers, saved 25,000 pounds a year, was like $40,000 a year, while bringing back bees, butterflies, and birds. And I'm thinking that's a really, really good idea. I wish it would work in Mississippi. We do have a lot of areas where the state, where the interstate, are not mowing everything. They'll leave the middle parts unmowed. Maybe they bush hog it once a year, but they let it grow up in wildflowers, which is really good. It still keeps it safe in case somebody has to pull over or if there's a wreck or something, and cuts down on fire risk and all like that. But unfortunately, England doesn't have Johnson grass like we do. They don't have sweet gum trees coming up everywhere. And if you attract a lot of birds and pollinators and things to the roadside, you're attracting them onto the front grill of your car. They're losing a lot of songbirds in North Carolina where they replace roadside mowing with stuff that attracts songbirds. They get run over all the time.
Oh, wow.
There's pros and cons of it all. So I just want to throw out that I wish there was a solution, but if you're going to have an area in your landscape, let's say you got a big yard, and you want to let some of it go to wildflowers, keep in mind wildflowers are strictly temporary. They make their way towards woody stuff, blackberries, shrubs, trees. You have to mow, even a wildflower meadow, it's got to be mowed at least once a year to keep the other stuff from taking over. And that's usually done in the fall after everything is set seed, to cut it in the late fall or the winter to make it nice and neat so wildflowers come up nice and clean in the spring. You can't just have wildflowers in Mississippi and walk away, because it just doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it just doesn't.
Now, I will say you've talked about before, I think it's even here in the Metro Jackson area, it's maybe somewhere near Madison, where there's a designated Ridgeland.
Yeah, right off the interstate, the Ridgeland exit, immediately off, just the first exit north of Natchez Trace, the place where I get my paint from my house paint. They've got a really nice big wildflower meadow. They got sculptures and things like that, but they have a real bad problem with things like ragweed and not very pretty stuff, because wildflowers are wildflowers whether they got pretty flowers or not. So it's really hard to do that. They have to mow it. They have to replant it. It's just not a wildflower meadow. It's just a big patch of flowers that have to be planted and taken care of. That's all it is.
Okay.
So, not trying to be negative here, because I actually wrote the publication. If you want to give this a try in your garden, I wrote the publication for the Extension Service called Wildflowers from Mississippi Meadows and Gardens. You can find it free by going to the MSU, Mississippi State University website, and just click in wildflowers. You can come up with this publication. But anyway, do we have a call yet? Because otherwise I want to go to a picture.
No, go to the pictures.
Okay, we'd like to remind folks this is a live call-in program. If there's something I can help you with, I'll be glad to. If there's something I can learn, I'd be more glad. But this thing about pub talk, Java, I'm always, this pub I go to, I got some guys, we talked about all sorts of stuff. One of them was talking about how his tomatoes don't ripen, because they have to grow tomatoes in greenhouses in England. Can't grow them outside because it doesn't get warm enough. They don't color up, so they have these unheated greenhouses, little backyard things. Not because of horticulture, they just, anyway, another fellow suggested he put banana peels out there, which will help things ripen. And there's truth to that. It gives off ethylene gas. But he said now instead of ripening tomatoes, his greenhouse is full of green tomatoes and thousands of fruit flies. But anyway, I was at a farmer's market and put up picture number 10. See if John C. is paying attention back there. Put up picture number 10. I was at a farmer's market in Bolton, England, and look at all these heirloom tomatoes they have. Different kinds of tomatoes. Some are good for sauces, some are slices, some have got more vitamins in them than others. But anyway, just colorful tomatoes. But it led to something, Java, that you and I were talking about off the air. Put up picture number 11, please. We're going to go to our music break after this, but picture number 11 is a classic Southern delight. Are you a banana pudding type of guy?
I will take down some banana pudding every now and again.
Well, we were talking about the banana peels, and that led to this thing where somebody said that they heard banana peels are radioactive. You shouldn't use them because they're radioactive. I'm thinking, what the heck are they talking about? I went online, and here's what I found out. This is true.
Uh-oh.
Radiation dose, they have a thing called BED, banana equivalent dose of radiation. This is the real thing. A radiation dose from a single banana, informally called banana equivalent dose, it would take 10, is radioactive. It gives off radiation, the kind that can make you sick. It said it takes 10 million bananas to give you radiation sickness, but to get a lethal dose, you'd have to eat 40 million bananas in a single time. And they said that the potassium overload would kill you before then. Said a single chest x-ray is like 1,000 bananas. So.
Oh, wow.
This is stupid stuff, Java, but it's gardening. And the researchers noted, he said, every year, just by being out in the world, Americans get a dose of 62,000 bananas worth of radiation. This is real, Java. I'm not making this up. This is real. Even here's where Crystal and Susan come in. Even close contact with another person gives you a tiny dose. So you get a dose of radiation cuddling your spouse. Depends on how long you cuddle and how hot she is. Do not tell Crystal that I was wondering what her banana equivalent dose is.
What? Man, that's that. The things you guys.
It's not gonna put me off banana pudding. I'm gonna eat banana. I know that they're radioactive, but I'm gonna keep eating banana pudding. Sorry.
But the things you guys eat, I mean, not eat, but the things you guys talk about at the pub never ceases to amaze me, man.
Well, a lot of people think we're just talking about sports. A lot of us, we're not that into sports. We're talking about banana radiation equivalents and why and how to ripen tomatoes in greenhouses.
Now we talk. I do have a email that just came in before we get to our second cheesy tune break, and it's kind of simple. This is from Jackie, and she lives in Waynesboro. And like I said, this is a pretty simple question. My squash stopped producing for some reason. Please help. LOL.
That's a good question. A lot of these plants are what I call weenie plants. They're not like oak trees or magnolia trees. And they're weak, and they can quickly outgrow the especially fast-growing vines with big leaves. They can outgrow their root system. Their roots only grow a certain much, and if you got a heavy soil or it's dry or it's wet or something, roots don't grow as well, and the top can overwhelm the roots, and that can shut the plant down. What you can do is give it just a little bit of fertilizer, not much, just a little fertilizer, just to stimulate some new growth, and give it a good deep soaking, no more than once a week or so, and this will help the root system. A little bit of water and a little bit of fertilizer can help overcome a weak root system. Also, it's perfectly okay to replant squash this time of year, but I would invest in some insect netting to keep bugs and stuff off. But a lot of plants, they just shut down. The tops outgrow their roots, and they just get overwhelmed. They just sort of say, nah, I'm just going to sit here. It's like an old dog that gets too hot. It ain't going to go for the whole walk. It's going to sit down in the shade. Nope, I ain't going anymore. But you can get the dog lured out of the shade with a piece of chicken.
I miss my lady, man. I miss my lady.
But yeah, I do. You had a sweet old puppy. I stepped on her foot one time and it hurt my feelings more than it hurt her.
Yeah, you almost knocked her down too.
Yep. Poor old lady. I miss my old Rusty dog, but that's just the way it is. So anyway, I got another cheesy tune. We got time to play it or what?
Yeah. This is one of your favorite guys, Keb Mo.
Keb Mo. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'm a practicing Stoic. That's my philosophy. Stoics are not negative or anything like that. We want to do good. We want to do as good as we can, but we want to keep it as simple as possible. I can't control what other people think or say or do. I can only control what I think or say or do. So keep it simple. I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java, Chapman, and all the other folks at MPB. We're going to take a real quick break, and it's a live program, so give us a call when we come back. I want to chat with you about what's going on or not in your garden. I know it's hot and dry, but we got time to just talk about it. There's plenty of stuff to do or think about doing. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts.
MPB, your stories, our mission.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Me and Java, we've been talking about radioactive banana peels and weird insects and not deformed, but length challenged raccoons and also just stuff like that. So I'd love to if you want to give us a call and talk about what's going on in your garden.
Yeah,
so,
you
Java,
said.
What are our numbers?
Well, I was just about to say, you said all of that to say, save us, people, save us. Call right now, 1-877-MPB-RING. That's 1-877-672-7464. And we got some calls coming in right now. Yeah, so give us a little minute.
Some bean gardeners out there. I got an email, by the way, on my personal email, Java, from well, I can't find his number. Here we go. David Harrison. He said, I want to plant a late crop of Irish potatoes. I have some potatoes from the spring harvest I think I can use. If I plant a late crop, do I sprout the plants the same way? And what he's talking about is cutting the potatoes into pieces and let the eyes pre-sprout in little plants and then setting those out. And I think it's a good idea to go ahead and just cut them up into pieces, small pieces with an eye. Let them dry a few days. And when they sprout, go ahead and plant those. It's important to get right on it, though, because potatoes do not like hot weather. They also do not like freezing weather. So we plant potatoes in the late winter, hope they don't freeze before they come up, and then we harvest them by the middle of the summer before it gets too hot. If you plant some now, they have time to grow, especially if you keep them mulched to keep the ground cool. They like cool weather, and they may have enough time to make a decent crop by late October, November, if you get right on it, because they'll freeze otherwise. But if you already got the potatoes, go ahead and have some fun with it. See how it works. Who you got, Java?
Yeah, let's go to South Haven and talk with Rebecca.
Hey, Rebecca. Good morning.
Good morning, Felder. You doing well?
So far, so good.
Really enjoying this cooler weather. Before, the only sunflowers I tried to grow were like mammoth sunflowers. And
yeah.
I just wanted something to grow. I was getting impatient with everything else. But now I know about all these little sunflowers that you can use as bouquets. They're just a whole lot smaller and easier to handle. And I planted some in the ground, and I didn't notice what was going on with the leaves, but I thought I'd plant some more. I planted them in pots, and I thought, well, they came up, but I thought they're not going to grow all the way up in pots, so I put them in the ground. And as soon as I put them in the ground, the next day I come out, and something's eating their leaves all up. Just didn't bother them in pots, but I don't know, that really won't affect the bloom, though, will it? Still.
No, as long as they didn't chew the tip end off, as long as they're still growing up at the tip, whatever chews the leaves might have chewed the tip out of it too. A lot of times these sunflowers will branch back out, like pruning a shrub or something. They can branch out with more, so they may not have killed them. If the tip is chewed off, let's give it a few days, a week or two, see if they don't sprout out new branches for a more compact plant for the side branches.
They usually don't have any branches, but
no, they usually don't. But neither does okra. But if you cut the top out of an okra, it'll become an okra bush. See, the tip end of a plant produces a hormone that suppresses side growth. If you snip the tip off of a plant or a stem or a twig, or if something bites it out, that hormone's not there, and then side branches a lot of times will sprout back out.
Well, what I looked at, it said insecticidal soap, or just soap and ditch water, spraying that on there. But that
insecticidal soap is it's not really a soap, it's just called that. It's a type of fatty acid it's a type of soapy fat that coats the bodies of those small insects and suffocates them. If you don't have small insects on there, there's no reason to spray it. In other words, insecticides don't prevent insects. They coat or they poison what's already on there. So unless you see something that's on the plant, there's no reason to use any kind of insecticide. It's no telling what cut those leaves off. It could have been, there's several things that could do that, but if there's not something to spray for that you can see, there's no need to spray anything. I'm real sure of that.
Okay. But it is just eating the leaves now. It's not eating the stalk.
Okay, well, look on the bottom of the leaves and see if you find anything there. And if not, go out at night with a flashlight, well after dark with a flashlight, and see if something's come up out of the soil that chews on it at night. Sometimes that'll happen. But unless there's something you can actually see to spray, insecticides, no insecticide is going to be effective. You got to spray for the bug. And insecticidal soap only controls a few soft-bodied small insects, usually not the type that chew on leaves.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Might need to get you some little rabbit fencing. You go to one of the big box stores, get you a little low fence, and put a little cute fence around it. And where there's a stake, put a gnome or a little bird or something like that on it, and just put your little fence around it, just in case it's something creeping up at night. But no need to spray insecticides unless you see something that you're actually spraying for.
Okay. I don't think it's a rabbit. I've never seen a rabbit in my yard.
All sorts of things can do it. I mean, there's lots of different things that chew on leaves at night. So I can't even begin to get it. There's so many. I've had rats come out and eat up my kale in my garden, and then I found out it was squirrels doing it. So anyway, who knows?
That's why I don't want to go out there at night. I don't want to see something I don't want to see.
Well, I guarantee you, they're more scared of you than you are of them. But main thing is, unless you have something that you can see eating or sucking on the plant, there's no need to use any kind of insecticide. I'm not opposed to insecticide, but they don't work that way. They're strictly after they kill things that are there. They don't keep things from coming the next day.
What about soapy water?
There's no need to spray unless there's something to spray. It's just if it ain't, in other words, there's nothing you can do to keep stuff from coming out. Insecticides, any of those kind of things, they only control what's actually there. And if you don't see something there, it does no good to spray anything. It's just the way they work.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Good luck. Hey, and you got time to plant some more, by the way. If you want to go in and get some more started directly in the dirt, got plenty of time to plant more sunflowers.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you. Good luck on it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. That was informative. I think you kind of stumped her with when you chop off the top of the plant. That hormone suppressing the side growth goes away. She actually learned something.
It actually works. That's the reason why you'll have a plant that grows tall and tall and tall and tall. But if you snip the top of it, it branches out because you remove the source of that. It's sort of like a repressive hormone.
Okay.
And that's why pruning plants makes them bush back out. They want to go. They just got a thug there saying, nope, I'm keeping you from doing that. It's like getting rid of the hall monitor and then everybody goes crazy.
Where's your hall pass? And Felder, when we ask for the phones, we got to start asking for the phones. They light up. Now let's go back to the phones and talk with Bill in Neshoba County.
Morning, Bill. What's going on?
Hey, well, I have a question about deep watering. So we had a long spell of dry weather, and every week I did a real deep watering. But this last week, we've had in Mississippi, they call them sporadic showers. Well, we get a sporadic shower here every day, a third of an inch, a quarter of an inch, a tenth of an inch. The last 10 days have been like that. And so should I still stick to my deep watering schedule or say, well, in the last week we've gotten an inch of water. It's just been sporadic.
And, and that's a really, really good, thoughtful question. And the answer is it's a combination. Light watering every now and then will keep plants doing perfectly fine. But if you skip 3 or 4 days, then that little shallow water dries up and you need to have some water down deep. In other words, if they get a little water every 2 or 3 or 4 days, it's okay. But if that means the roots stay real shallow where it's moist. And if it dries out for another week or two, then down deep, there's no roots there. So I think it's good to at least every couple of weeks do a little deep watering and let the little every other day things keep it moist. By the way, I found out that it's better to water twice to get it down deeper. If you water really good till water starts standing or running off, and then come back an hour or two later and do it again, that second water pushes the first watering down deep rather than just sitting there running off. But I think it's good to put a good deep soaking down there in this kind of hot weather, at least every 3 or 4 weeks. Every couple of weeks would be great, but no more than once a week, seriously. Good question, though.
Thank you. I'll do it.
All righty. Good luck on it. The deep watering thing. That's a tough one. Java, I'm not in Mississippi right now, and my garden has got to take care of itself. I don't have anybody going over there and watering my plants. I got a little spy thing in case anybody wants to come over and look around. I see you. Don't make me holler at you. But nobody goes over and waters. I have to choose plants that really can take a lot of drought, including container plants, and also plant them well so that when it does rain, it goes down deep. And then I mulch to keep the ground cool and to keep the water from evaporating, because sun and wind will cause a lot of wicking effect. Even in my potted plants, I mulch even them. And I water 2 or 3 times and then mulch. And then I can go 3, 4, 5 times longer than most people who water twice a week. So water deep, mulch is the best way to approach roots and plants this time of year.
All right, let's continue on the phones. And we're actually going over to Alabama. And we love our Alabama listeners, especially those in Mobile. Let's talk with John in Mobile.
Morning, John. What's up?
Well, I've got a somewhat related comment regarding radiation bananas and the outrageous number of bananas needed to be eaten. Back in the dark ages when I was in college, I had an organic chemistry class. And about the same time, the government outlawed cyclamates because it allegedly was giving cancer, and according to the professor, to get cancer from drinking cyclamated sodas, you would need to drink about 10 cases a day, 7 days a week for about 10 years to get anything close to what you would need to get cancer from that.
Right.
Because they overdose the lab animals so huge that it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's called dosage over time. And, it doesn't take much, salt is all natural, but it doesn't take very much of a dose of salt to kill a person. It doesn't take much at all. But some things that we consider to be really, really poisonous. I mean, it doesn't take much alcohol to kill a person. You can drink yourself to death with 2 bottles of liquor, but a beer every now and then is not going to hurt you. And it's even something like people worry about Roundup. Roundup, it's on the same poisonous level as aspirin. You have to take a lot of it at one time to cause a problem. But over a long period of time, it's got about the same danger as red meat. You eat red meat 3, 4, 5 times a day for a long time, you're going to up your chance of the problem. So it's a matter of dosage over time. And by the way, it's sort of farcical about the bananas because cucumbers have the same stuff. Beans have the same stuff. A lot of carrots have the same stuff. It's called phosphorus. Potassium. Anything that's got potassium in it, as potassium degrades, it gives off a certain amount of 2 different kinds of radiation. One's the kind that can poison you, one's not. We have enough potassium in us to probably kill a banana. So it's a matter of dosage over time. It really is. And that was really my whole point. People are worried about doing certain things because it might be poison. So is broccoli if you eat enough of it. So just be cool about it.
Appreciate you, John. Let's stay in Mobile and let's go over and talk with Michael James.
Morning, Michael James. MJ, what's up?
Hey, Felder. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you. Glad you joined us.
Yeah. So, I live in Midtown, and at my old house, my neighbor had this really amazing ball cypress, and I wanted to plant one of those in my backyard, but I wanted to take a seed, or I grabbed one of those big balls, right, and I put it in the dirt, and nothing ever happened. So how would you germinate that, or what?
That's a very good question. A lot of people, they sell seedling. They sell cypress grow from seed. Cypress seed, that little ball-looking thing, it's unusual. It needs a certain amount of special conditions. They don't sprout normally in people's yards. They drop in water, they float around to the edge, and they sprout there. So it's something related to amount of moisture for a certain amount of time. I don't know what it is, but cypress naturally sprout around wet areas. They don't normally sprout just up the hill from there. So I think the seeds have to be subjected to some kind of moisture. I don't have time to look it up, but I guarantee you, if you just Google germinating ball cypress seeds, it'll tell you some simple little trick like soaking it in water for 2 months or something simple like that that makes it think it's right up along the side of the bayou.
Yeah. We started planting them in our in the medians, dividing roads.
It's a terrific street tree.
And they look great.
It doesn't have a lot of leaf litter. It doesn't fall apart in hurricanes and ice storms. You worry about hurricanes, we worry about ice storms. And it'll take incredible drought. It'll grow in the worst kind of clay soil, even though it's dry, because it's adapted to poorly aerated clay soils. But it's a terrific street tree, and it grows straight up, so you can put it just over from the power lines, and you're not going to have to cut the top of it out. By the way, if you're looking at this, there's another cypress tree called pond cypress, P-O-N-D cypress. Looks a lot like the ball cypress, but doesn't have those knees that come up everywhere. So if you want to buy a seedling someplace or small plant, they really grow fast. It can save you a couple of years of time if you get a little small plant and set it out. But look for a pond cypress if you get it. But meanwhile, I will look it up. Let's both of us look it up by this time next week. We'll know all about what it takes to sprout the seeds, because they do it commercially.
Yeah, I thought about that. I always thought his tree was really majestic looking, And I was like, maybe if I get a seedling or get one of its seeds or something. I don't,
Well, it's a good idea. But let me throw another little wrench in, monkey wrench in there. There's a thing called seedling diversity. You can have the prettiest parents on earth, and some of their kids they're not gonna be that great because of seedling diversity. So just because a parent looks good or is smart doesn't mean the kids can be smart and pretty. It's a luck of the draw.
Right.
It'll take years to find out. So the only way to get a tree that comes true is to root a piece off of that tree because it's an identical clone.
Oh, and do a graft or something from a branch?
Or root a cutting. They're not that easy to root, but there are ways to root them. But anyway, it's unlikely you're going to have one that's going to be identical to that one. So just, plant your 3 in a group, put you some palmetto up under it, and just call it a scene. And to create a little scene rather than depend on that one plant to carry the whole load.
Okay, that's smart.
Meanwhile, maybe I'll see you this fall. We have a plant swap at the Pres Church, corner of Dolphin and St. Anne, Central Pres. We always have a plant swap there in the spring and the fall. It's not far from where you live.
Dolphin and Ann Street?
Yeah, Central Pres. We always have a big plant swap, usually April and October. It's free.
That's like a block away from my house.
All right. I love the neighborhood you live in. I rode around last year, took pictures of some weird landscape. People, you can get away with almost anything in your neighborhood because it's historic.
Yeah, exactly. And if I'm correct, ball fibers are native to the area, right?
Well, yeah. So is pond cypress. Pond cypress is just a slight variation.
So many,
the leaves look a little bit different.
Like,
it doesn't have the knees on it.
They call it the azalea city, but those are non-native.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, but ain't they pretty when they bloom?
They are. I'm not complaining about it, but
yeah. Well, anyway, let's do a little quick research. But again, it's going to take years to find out whether the seedling that you grow is going to be similar to the parent that you got the seed from.
I'm going to have to do some research on that pond cypress. That sounds, if I could get away with not having all the little knee roots come up, that'd be even better.
Well, the one called pond cypress, POND, it's native. It's not, anyway, it doesn't make the knees. Anyway, appreciate your call, man. Stay cool and hydrated.
Yeah, Michael, appreciate you calling in and check out Felder. When does that plant swap usually happen? Because I know you mention it all the time.
I've been to several of them. It's usually like the second Saturday of the month. It's either I can't remember changes, but we usually talk about it a pretty good bit here on the program.
Yeah, it's one of those big ones out there in Mobile, and a lot of people call in right before it happens.
A little community garden right there.
Let's stay on the phones. This is probably our last call for the hour. Sandra in Florence.
Morning, Sandra. What's up in Rankin County?
Well, hey, something's eating my cosmos. I usually have a whole big old stand of them, and they were coming up. They were about 5 feet tall, and something has eaten them down to about a foot of the stem left.
Well, if something's going to do that, it's going to, without trampling, I like to rule out deer, but I know you can have deer in Florence. I know you can. Oh, yeah. But,
I'm out of the country.
I don't know what there's several things that eat like that, but if they eat really, really fast like that, big plants, I'm thinking about some kind of mammal. Yeah, probably not a raccoon or a possum. They don't like vegetables that much, but I would suspect deer. That's just a wild guess. Just a wild
deer
guess.
Or rabbit.
I don't know.
Rabbits.
Could be, but they would start at the bottom and cut it off and then eat what falls over. But it's hard for them to start at the top down on a tall plant. Right. So anyway, there's so many things I couldn't even begin to guess what it could be. But it's going to be some kind of mammal doing that much work that fast.
Okay, another question? Can
I make it quick?
I know. My grandson cut off the bottom limbs of my magnolia tree, and it's got so much good soil under there. What could I plant?
Right. Well, you can put up under there, magnolia leaves works. I hate to say that, but just magnolia leaves, they work like a charm, and put you a bench or a bird bath under there to give you something to look at. But monkey grass is going to be one of your best bets. Monkey grass or English ivy, because they're the only thing that'll grow really, really well under there in a real shallow, dry area and take that much shade. And plus, they don't get smothered by those big old leaves.
Well, thank you, Sandra. Sorry we coming up on the end of the show, Felder.
I had fun today. There's some really strange and good questions today. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and listen to the podcast.
It's been a wild one. Take us home, man. We got 20 seconds.
All righty. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java Chapman and all the other folks at Mississippi Public Broadcasting, we appreciate you tuning in and sharing. Let other folks know you can listen every Friday or on YouTube, the Gestalt Gardener, or mpbonline.org. Meanwhile, go to a farmer's market, take a kid with them, and show us how to do what we do best, and that's get dirty. Stay cool and hydrated.